Greetings, YouTube. Today we're going to talk about an Arnold Schwarzenegger vehicle from, I believe, 2014, Sabotage. Now, I'm not actually sure if Sabotage saw a theatrical release or not, or it went directly to video. I'm not positive. I think it may have seen a short run in theaters. But I picked it up as a 1 in 3 pack of a Blu-ray. There were three action films in one pack. I paid $1 for it. So my investment in the movie Sabotage was 33 cents. And of the 3-pack, 2 of the movies have commentary tracks, which I have yet to watch on either first run or with the commentary. And the last one didn't have a commentary track, and that was Sabotage. So my wife wasn't around one weekend, so I decided I will watch Sabotage. It's an Arnold Schwarzenegger vehicle. What the heck? I've watched some of his bad movies in the past. It can't be that horrible. And the film... Now, I'm going to talk spoilers here, so if you have not seen the movie and you want to be surprised by anything I'm about to discuss, go watch the movie first. So, are you aware of that? Good. Here we go. The movie opens, cold open. We're into stuff with... Oops, we dropped my ring. With a woman being tortured, or the video of a woman being tortured with our main character watching it. That's how the film open. So we have a woman's pain being exploited right off the bat, which is really problematic. And then from that point on, you have a kind of a thriller murder mystery action film that is set in the real world. And what do I mean by that? Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger made a lot of action movies in the 80s and 90s. And one of my favorite ones I could think of would be like Commando and stuff. But Commando and so many of the other action movies he made were set in the action movie universe, where when you shoot bad guys, they just kind of fall down. When there is blood, it's red. It doesn't look like blood. Blood is not red. So it was almost like Hammer films, the horror films that weren't really horror films. But the blood didn't look real. And the blood didn't really look real in the Arnold Schwarzenegger action films of the 80s and the 90s. And it was very cartoony. It was, again, the bad guys just kind of fell down. There were no repercussions of bad guys or good guys blasting away with fully automatic weapons, unless, of course, those repercussions were key to the plot of the story. Then there were repercussions. But by and large, you could fire an automatic weapon to a crowd. No one would get hit unless the plot required them to be hit. It was quite astounding. So I want you to take that kind of an idea there. That's the 80s action film. Those tropes wrapped around that. Now translate that into the 21st century, where someone films an 80s action movie as though you had to survive an 80s action movie in the real world. So everything that takes place in those tropes is now real. So betrayal is betrayal for real. Crimes are crimes, not just necessarily empty plot devices. There are ramifications to those crimes. Drug cartels behave like drug cartels do in the real world. Drug addiction looks like drug addiction. Violence looks like violence. Blood does not look like fake blood. It looks real. And there are ramifications for those violent acts, whether it's shooting a firearm or driving like a mad person through a city at high speeds. You see these high-speed chases in action films all the time. And yet there's very little interaction between the people in the chase and the world around them, unless, of course, the plot calls for it. But in the real world, if you drive at high speed through a city, there are ramifications. There are now laws saying cops can't chase people in high-speed pursuits in cities because too many civilian lives have been placed at risk. Well, in Sabotage, those lives are placed at risk. And it's a very bloody, gory, depressing movie. There are no good guys. Well, there's one FBI agent. She's kind of a good guy. But even she gets screwed over. And it's nice to see that people look like people. There are no fashion models in this. The people look very realistic. I'll give them props for that. But it's also a really rough watch. I had a hard time with this because the gore is real, the blood is real, the torture is real. The drama between the characters is real. You get to see the pain. The acting was very well done. When I see people emoting that they just got cheated on or someone just got killed, they're reacting like people, not functional people, because the main core of the film is Arnold Schwarzenegger and his elite agents from a DEA Special Forces unit who are all screwed in the head, who have almost no constraints placed upon them, and will do anything they can possibly achieve to get their targets, including just murdering people. It's a very realistic world view of people who are off the end, who are off the reservation, who are unrestrained, and what happens when you give that kind of power to people. These are power drinkers, these are drug users, these are violent people. They're professionals in some regards, but they're violent people. And they tend to see everything as a nail, and they are the goddamn hammer. So if you liked 80 action films, and you also like kind of the gore and such of really kind of splatter stuff, this is a film for you. The blood looks real. The violence looks real. It's visceral. It's disturbing. The acting is solid. I really enjoyed Schwarzenegger in this. I like the fact that they just never kind of addressed the fact that he still has that accent, even though it's much lighter now than it was, say, back in the Conan days. They just kind of ignore the fact that he does not really sound like your average American citizen, and yet he's the commander of this elite DEA agency unit. I always enjoy that they just kind of ignore that when you've got Scottish cowboys and things that are kind of out of place and in some films. They just kind of ignore the fact that, yes, these traditionally American roles are being played by people who aren't, but you know what the heck, we'll go for it. So Sabotage is a movie I'm never going to watch again. I've already given it away. I don't ever want to see it again. It's kind of stuck in my head. It's probably going to be there for a very long time. But again, if you like the 80 action films and the way they can be translated into a more modern era with a more modern take on them, then you might like Sabotage. As a side note, apparently Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't like his haircut in the film, which really baffled me because I frankly thought he looked great in it. It's not a hairstyle that we've ever seen in him before, but it looked like a dude who lives alone and whose life is built around his mission of both being a DEA agent commander and revenge. It just suited him. It really did. And I was kind of baffled by the fact that he didn't like it. I don't know why. So if you've ever seen the thing, tell me if you thought the hairstyle fit Schwarzenegger or not. I think it did. So those are my thoughts on Sabotage. It's a solid film. I hope I haven't spoiled too much of it for you. But it's also very visceral and bloody. And that's something I've discovered that I'm just not that into anymore.